Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Viraj and today we guys are going to discuss a file handling in Python. So file handling perform a couple of operations: reading a file, writing a file, executing a file, appending a content to the file, and so on. In order to understand the file handling, so we need to understand a syntax. File object equal to open file name comma mode. This is a syntax which helps us to read a file, write a file, execute a file, append a file, read a file in a binary mode, and so on. So, modes in file handling. For a reading, R mode is there. For a write, W mode is there. Execute a file, then X mode is there. Binary, then B mode is there, and for append A mode is there. So read is for reading a file, write mode for writing a file or a creation of a file, execute a particular file, read a file in a binary or a write in a binary, and append is for if there is any existing file is there, then we can use a mode to append the data. Means this mode, A mode, is going to keep the existing content and append the content to that particular file. It is like a list.append. So the existing list will be there and we are adding an element at a last. Similarly, append works. So let's see these modes one by one. Write a file. In order to write a file, there are two ways. There are two ways to create or write a file without using dot with method. So this is without using with method. So we will discuss the with method shortly. We will use the same syntax, file object. So I will write a file underscore IO equal to open file name test.txt or test1. I will write it test1 comma W. W is for writing a file. Execute this. As soon as we execute this, the file will get created. We can scroll it down. Test1.txt is there. If you click on this particular file, there is no content right now because we haven't written anything. In order to write a content to the file, what we can do? File io.write. First line. What it is saying? It is saying a 10. 10 is nothing but the 10 bytes. So these are a 5, white space is a 1, and the lines are 4. So total bytes are 10. If you refresh this, there is nothing right now. There is nothing. How we can see the content? So to see the content into the particular file, so we need to close this. So right now the data is in a buffer. So right now the data is in a buffer. As soon as we use a file io.close, we are closing this particular file and whatever the data in a buffer will get written on the file. What we need to do? Just need to refresh it. We can see the first line. Similarly, if I wanted to write a couple of more lines, I can use a write or write lines built-in function. Let's see with the another way. Write a file with a W and with method. Or keyword, we can say that. We can say that with keyword, not a method. File IO, or we can say that open with open test2.txt. We can write a W here as file IO. File IO.write. We are using with keyword here. So let me write instead of method, we will write a keyword. Keyword second line, and what we can write, file io dot write. We don't need to close, or we don't need to call close method. The default is, so as soon as we execute these lines, automatically the close will get executed. So we can see that test2 is there and it has a some content. Right now all the content in a one line. The reason is really simple. We are not using a /n, means /n is going to divide the content into the new line. So here we just writing all the line using a write. So it will be concatenated. So that's why we are able to see the entire content in a single line. If you want a like it should be in a splitted way, so we can use a /n. So we need to use at a start, or we have to use a end. So it will split the lines. Okay. So this is how we can write it. So these are the two ways. So let's see the A mode. Append mode, which is going to be A. File IO, let's take a first example again. File IO, open test1.txt, A mode. This time we are using a mode. So what it is going to do, it is going to keep the content. So previously what content we had a first line. So what we can do, file io dot write /n, we can write a /n, and we can say that second line with second line. That's it. We can see that 12 bytes. File underscore io dot close. We can go here and we can open a test1.txt. We can see the first line is there and second line. If you are not using a mode, what will happen? So if I'm using a file io on open test2.txt, w mode, file underscore io dot write, this will override the content. File io dot close. So before executing these statements, let's see we are having these lines. As soon as I am executing this, the older content will get vanished and the newer content will displayed. So this is because of a mode W. If you are using A, then it will append a content. So guys, as per our demand or as per our requirement, we have to use a W, A or R mode. Let's write a R mode. Read a file using R mode. Okay. So file underscore io equal to open test1.txt R mode, file underscore io dot read. We can see this. Even there is one more way. For a line in file underscore io print line. Right now it is not displaying anything. This particular code block is not displaying anything. The reason is really simple. It read the data in a memory. And it executed. As soon as it is executed, the memory is cleared. So when we are next time, if we are using a file underscore io, it is not having any data. So what we need to do, we need to write this line at the top, and then we can see the data. We can cut, copy, paste this, and we can see this. So this is the one way of doing it. This is the another way of doing it in input number 12, or you can use a input number 10 as well. So we can use a read, or we can use this. What will happen, like if the file is not found? if the file is not found. For example, test5. Test5 is no longer available, or there is no file we have created with the test5. So we are getting this error. And if you wanted to handle this, then we can use a exception handling. Try, we can do this, except print error occurred, and we can write a error as well, exception as a E, and we can mention E, else we can read it if it is found. Finally, file closed. File closed. So right now we will take a valid file name, which is a test1, and we can see this first line, second line, and file closed. If the file is not valid, so for example test5, what will happen? Error occurred, no such a file, and file object close. So this is how we can handle a file with the read, write, and append mode. That's it for this video, guys. See you in the next.